This is the Nancy Stevens Lifestyle Show here on the New Horizon Radio.
Welcome to the Nancy Stevens Lifestyle Show here on the New Horizon. And for new listeners from Northampton, a very warm welcome. A little bit about me. Cake and cat lover, lover of a statement sleeve, as per demonstrated today, and musical theatre nut. I will be reviewing lots of shows over the next few weeks. Today's show, as always, is very busy. I'm doing my working with Waterstones. I don't know why I've done this alliterative thing, because it gets me every single time. Dare I say it, by Naomi Watts, who's a Hollywood star, and kind of busting the myths on menopause. Talking about swimming etiquette, or lack of, the latest Danny Dyer, marching powder at Cineworld, and the Apprentice, banking apps for kids. Oh my word. And my special guest is Ailsa Petchey from the Olive Collective, who is making a very welcome return. I want to talk a little bit about etiquette. I've talked about theatre etiquette or lack of. I'm going to talk about swimming etiquette now. So, full disclosure, I'm a Sunday swimmer. And the reason I swim on a Sunday is to coincide with my hair wash. I told you I was efficient. Everything has to work into my crazy life. I love swimming, but as I say, it has to coincide with hair wash day. What I do take seriously is that the fact that I just want to go and swim. I'm not there to socialize or get involved in chit-chat or anything. I've got very little time, and I just want to get there, as I say, do my thing and get home. However, there are 3 lanes at the health club that I go to. I use the word health club in inverted commas because it's more like a gym. But it's okay. It does the job. So we've got the slow lane, we've got the fast lane, and we've got the wider lane, but it's not labeled fast or medium or anything or intermediate, but I tend to swim in that lane. And I say I'm quite an efficient swimmer. I swim backstroke, and I swim right next to the boys, so keeping very much in my lane. However, there are people who have other ideas. We've got one guy who thinks he's in for the Olympics. Honestly, he's in the fast lane and he's got his full cap and goggles on and he's going hell for leather and he takes it very seriously. I wouldn't mind that so much as the fact that he does butterfly. Now, if you've ever seen anyone swim butterfly, it is the most antisocial stroke ever. And it does feel like he's literally emptying the pool of water. And everyone within sort of, a 20 mile radius is splashed to smithereens. It is absolutely ridiculous. And say it's very difficult in the fast lane, which is actually a very narrow lane, when your arm span is like this and you're doing butterfly. So that is kind of annoying. Then in the lane that I'm in, I've got a lovely lady who swims up and down with, she's very, very sedate swimmer, and she doesn't like it if anybody swims in what she deems her lane. But then we've got these 2 girls, and they are hilarious. And I've dubbed them the Love Island twins because they turn up in their itsy bitsy tiny micro bikinis on a Sunday morning, and basically they're for chat and posing. And none of them like to get their hair wet, so they're swimming like this, their heads above water. But they swim behind each other. But it's not even swimming; it's just like sort of bobbing along. So it's not you. It's the equivalent to aerobics. You just wouldn't break into a sweat. It is so slow. I'm thinking, why are you actually even bothering? So they're taking up all that space as well. So it's just bizarre. I see women, primarily it is women actually, who are swimming, who they're just kind of bobbing up and down. They're not actually swimming. I think you would get so much more energy expended if you actually properly swam. But anyway, that's the lane hoggers. I'm not confident enough to go into the fast lane, even though I'll probably say I'm an intermediate swimmer, because I do feel intimidated by those people who are just sort of whizzing up and down. But, I will carry on in my middle lane, for the time being until I get the confidence to go. But I like to do sort of 70 to 100 lengths in about an hour. I'm very competitive, but with myself. I'm not there to compete with other people. But when people sit at the top of the pool and they're just there with their hands like this and they're having a good old chat, that really, really grinds my gears. And then, to top it all, sauna etiquette or lack of. Oh my goodness. The other week I'd had a brilliant swim and I thought, I've got time, I'm going to have a sauna. So I went into the sauna, which is minuscule, absolutely minuscule. And I was just about to lie back, and then I realized there was this guy just lying on lying down the whole length of the bench. Bearing in mind you can only fit about 4 people in there sitting up anyway. So I couldn't sit back, and being very British, I went, "Oh, sorry. What was it about?" And no hint of an apology. It's unbelievable. I don't know. I don't know how I can sort of say, please could you sit up, so I could sit comfortably, it just felt really uncomfortable. And there's lots of guys in there with tiny trunks, and I do feel a little bit intimidated, which is why I don't go into the sauna very often. But I have to say, at least we wear swimwear in our saunas, unlike our German cousins. Now, that is a step too far. I went to see a film that I would never in a million years have normally gone to see had I not watched Danny Dyer in Rivals last year, who was absolutely brilliant. He absolutely stole every single scene he was in. Never was a big Danny Dyer fan, never really watched EastEnders, but I thought I'll go along and see this film. The trailer had looked good. It's called Marching Powder. The clue is in the title. So I did push myself out my comfort zone. I really, really did. Danny Dyer has worked with director Nick Love. I think this is the 5th time they've worked together. Marching Powder is a rom-com with a kick and an awful lot of head-butting. But I did laugh out loud regularly, pretty much throughout the whole film. And that's quite unusual. I've not done that in a very long time, actually. It's not for the easily offended. Peppering of the C word is rife. I mean, it's pretty much every second word, but it is contextual. It does kind of work. But Dyer plays Jack, who is a drug-addled, football-obsessed wastrel who's supported by his equally geezerish father-in-law, who really doesn't like him, doesn't think he's good enough for his darling daughter. But Jack doesn't have a job. He just literally wants to go and get smashed and take a shed load of drugs and go to football matches and not even decent football, like not even the sort of, I don't know, I don't understand football, but it's very, very, I think they went to see Tranmere Rovers, so very low relegation, I believe, and just fight. But it's kind of funny. When you say it like this, it doesn't sound funny at all, but he's so good in it. And yes, it is. There's a lot of gratuitous violence. It feels like a Guy Ritchie movie with humor, actually. And as I say, my friend and I were laughing out loud a lot. It was really, really funny. But I think what I really liked is he keeps talking to the fourth wall, breaking the fourth wall. And I love that. I just find that particularly sort of endearing characteristic when actors do that. And I know that that's what they're being told to do, but I do find that very amusing. So he's just looking straight to camera and he's talking to camera like nothing else exists. It's absolutely brilliant. Dyer's real life son actually plays his little boy in the show, actually, and there's some things that he says I can't even repeat what the little boy says. It is filthy. It is a pure filth, but it is really, really funny. I don't think we should underestimate Danny Dyer's acting skills, because for me, comedy is all about timing, and he really does have that comic timing. I don't know if he's ever done anything like stand-up, but he is brilliant in this. It is basically the Danny Dyer show. It is really good fun. As I say, if you're easily offended and you don't want to watch someone snorting a load of marching powder up their nose or head-butting people, then that's not your kind of film. And quite a few people did walk out, but actually the cinema was probably the fullest I've seen it in a long time. So Marching Powder, Danny Dyer show, it is a really, really good laugh. Talking about The Apprentice on television, God, every week I think it cannot get more ridiculous, but it absolutely does. This week the teams were tasked with creating a banking app for 6 to 9 year olds. How could it possibly go wrong? It didn't get off to a promising start when the candidates received the fake 4 a.m. call. I love the way that they pretend that they've got 20 minutes to get ready. And I've read some articles about how this all works. So each scene takes 3 days to film, and the girls sleep in their makeup. So they don't actually technically have 20 minutes to get ready. And it's not 4 o'clock in the morning, because when they come out, it's bright sunlight. And I know it's summer, but it's like those little continuity things. I think, do they think we're stupid? But anyway, it is amusing, but it's funny seeing the girls wake up and they're beautifully made up already. Anyway, they got this fake 4 a.m. call, and I don't know. I'm just thinking about the fact me sleeping in my makeup. That's just making me anxious. Actually, I just like for the potential of earning that kind of money. I think I still wouldn't sleep in my makeup. Anyway, they were summoned to the London Stock Exchange. Now, bearing in mind these are supposed to be the finest business brains in Britain, inverted commas. They didn't know what the London Stock Exchange was. They were actually saying, "What's the London Stock Exchange?" And then one of them said, "Oh, I think it's something to do with finance." I mean, I was just like, "Oh my God, this is not going to go well, really." So anyway, Jordan, bless him, voted himself as project manager and then did absolutely nothing. Dean wanted to be project manager based on the fact that he's a parent. Again, I mean, I've been a parent for nearly 30 years and I still don't know what I'm doing. So I'm sorry, that is not that's not great criteria for, I've got a 6-year-old, I know how kids think, and I know how to do a banking app. He had no app experience or anything like that. So that was never going to end well, bless him. Anyway, so the brief was to educate kids about finances. And I think, we're not taught this in schools. Kids aren't, we're not taught anything about money in schools. And we leave school and most of us are woefully equipped to deal with the real world. I mean, back in the day, it would have been really helpful to know about mortgages or how to balance a checkbook, all that, pensions and all that. I still don't understand pensions. I've got a big pile of admin at home. Think it's just my pension stuff because it's just too much. And because it's money as well. And as a nation, we are very phobic about money as well, talking about money. So anyway, the brief was to educate them about finances, savings, withdrawals, and ultimately bankruptcy. But Dean, bless him, said you can't say to you can't talk about bankruptcy with a 6-year-old. But I think if they'd done it in a light-hearted way, it might have. I think 6-year-olds are smarter than we give them credit for. Anyway, Mia took the role of top dog when they created this little savings dog. Honestly, it was fit for a 2-year-old. Bearing in mind their target market was 6 to 9 years old. Honestly, it was Anyway, Mia is brilliant, and I think she's definitely a contender for the final. But anyway, she created this ridiculously childish savings dog, and you put money in, and it said there was a digital thing that said how much money was in there. The other team was supposed to create a mythical creature, but what they did, they ended up giving the kids a lecture on cybersecurity. I think you've got mythical and cyber a little bit mixed up there. I really, really don't get that. And they were called mythical banking. And anyway, when they did their pitch to the three banks, they were like, mythical banking, that doesn't actually even make sense. So one of the pitches went so badly wrong. Kia was doing a pitch, and oh my God, when you just see someone just talking, and I'm sure I'd be like, if I went on Dragon's Den or something like that, I'm sure I would absolutely fall apart. But he was just crumbling, and the stuff that was coming in his mouth was making absolutely no sense at all. And then and one of the I think it was Monzo. Very cool. I bank with Monzo, very cool bank. And the CEO was sort of saying, well, what about screen time? This is basically an app. It's a game. And, we're trying to minimize screen time for kids. And he went, oh, that's just the way of the world. So the head of Monzo again said, we are trying to minimize screen time. And he went, yeah, that's just the way. And he's just like, you're not actually listening. So that was just absolutely appalling. Anyway, Chizola, who's going to also end up in the final, she kind of rescued the whole thing because it was just like, oh my God, this is just a car crash of a pitch. Anyway, Lord Sugar's retribution was swift and brutal because he got rid of, I did love Frederick, but he fired Frederick on the spot because they didn't get any investment at all. Poor Frederick, his face was like, because normally there's all that preamble and, I'm thinking about it and who are you going to bring back in the boardroom? He just fired him. And everyone was going, oh my God, we know there's going to be another one because, there had to be another one. Well, of course there was. Anyway, Dean should have been fired, but Dean actually took responsibility for the fact that he messed up. And he did say, he held his hands up and said, I'm really sorry. I should have talked about financial sort of security and educating, making it more educational. Keir did like our beloved Prime Minister and avoided all responsibility. And Lord Sugar kept saying, so you don't think the bad pitch, that losing the task was down to you? No, I did good. No, you actually didn't. You lost the task. And I think it was a complete lack of self-awareness that did it. And he was like, off you go, mate. So, what a bunch of bankers. Welcome back to the Nancy Stevens Lifestyle Show here on the New Horizon and my Working with Waterstones segment. This book, Naomi Watts, dare I say it, everything I wished I'd known about the menopause. Naomi Watts, for those of you who don't know, is a Hollywood actress, and she's really rather famous. She's Nicole Kidman's bestie, just a little FYI. But it's actually a really good book because it's not very long, but the menopause, and I'm going to be talking to my wonderful guest, Ailsa Petchey, about the menopause. So if you're not interested in the menopause, I would not listen, but it is actually a really interesting book. And she does deal with lots of really difficult subjects that you wouldn't expect someone of, with her profile to talk about, because she was very aware that as a celebrity or as a, sort of very high profile actress, being labeled menopausal was not going to do her career any good. So she was very reluctant to sort of admit publicly she was menopausal. The problem was that she was 36 when she found out that she was perimenopausal and she was trying to start a family. So it was all kind of very, very public. And she was told that she was on the brink of menopause and that she possibly wasn't going to be able to conceive. It's estimated that 13 million people in the UK are currently dealing with menopause. Women, I should say. Dry, itchy skin. Oh my God, this is me at the moment. Sometimes I just feel like my skin is just too small for me. I can't cope. And I've tried every cream, so I'm hoping Ailsa's going to be able to recommend something. But it's also the whole kind of insomnia. 3 a.m. is not my friend, but oh my goodness, I'm so familiar with 3 a.m. The confusion that you feel, it's like, what day of the week it is. I mean, I have to have 2 diaries now. I make sure that they sync with each other to make sure that I'm where I'm meant to be. And I used to be the most organized person in the world, and it really upsets me that I need to be sort of, I don't know, so rigorous and regimented now with my time, because things take longer than you always think they're going to take as well. So it's, again, having to be very organized, and a lot of women feel really, really unprepared as well. So she sits down with her friends, and they sit around, and a lot of doctors. She's got a lot of doctors involved, just talking informally about menopause. And so she's got lots of experts involved. Will I ever sleep again? What happened to my libido? Do I need 18 serums for my aging skin? Whose body is this anyway? And who am I now? And I think that's so. Oh my goodness me. I mean, I think that's a question most menopausal women ask themselves every day. So she shares the most up-to-date research on how to manage the menopause. And it is really heartening to see that even Hollywood stars struggle. And I say, it's a good book. It's because it's factual. Sometimes it's, you have to sort of dip in and out. It's not like a novel you can just sort of whiz through it and not unputtable, downable. That's really bad English, but you know what I mean. But there's a lot of facts in there, but she's got some of the best. Because of who she is, she's got some of the best menopause experts on board. So it's really, say, Ailsa, I think you're really going to enjoy it. So yeah, as I say, everything I wish I'd known about menopause. But say, if you don't want to read the book, you can stay tuned, and I'm going to be chatting to Ailsa Petchey, our menopause expert. And I'm delighted, so excited to have Ailsa Petchey back. Ailsa was on the first of my 5 shows when I started back at Christmas, actually, which seems an awfully long time ago. Ailsa is literally the person you need to go to for menopause. There's nothing this lady doesn't know about menopause, but an all-round amazing person in terms of energy. If I want to be kind of bolstered or cheered up, Ailsa's got this personality. She's just a wonderfully positive person to be around, sort of kind of like a little mentor, but also a friend. So I'm very, very proud to have her as my friend and as my kind of business contact as well. Really, we do lots together. We've got lots planned as well, haven't we? So welcome back.
Thank you so much for having me back. I can't believe that obviously those first 5 weeks, they seem to be just have come and gone so quickly, haven't they?
5 weeks, I know. And we did pack a lot in, and we went through sort of menopause as much as we could. I mean, there's so much. It's such a big topic, and as I said then, and I've been very remiss, but I wanted to get you back in sort of once a month because people desperately want to hear about the subject. And as I said earlier when I was sort of talking about Naomi Watts, but that even someone like Naomi Watts, a Hollywood A-lister, was struggling.
Oh yeah, and actually, she's actually been so fantastic to also highlight all sorts of things that have gone on with hormones, but also from such a young age, which I think so many people don't expect to hear. 36 sounds a really young age to start feeling, that you might be going into perimenopause. But yes, and when they start normalising it, I think that's where things become a lot easier to talk about. So that's why it's much easier for us to have a chat about this now, which is great.
And that's exactly what we're going to do. We're going to talk about everything to do with menopause. But firstly, congratulations in order. I believe you've won an award. Tell us about it.
We have. I'm so excited. We have just won our first award for our Don't Sweat It walks. So we do Don't Sweat It walking and talking our way through hormones. We are now, I can't believe this, on our 24th week. And with that, we're also doing workshops as well. And we won Project of the Year from Places for People for our contribution into the community. So I am delighted. It's really lovely.
Applause. Oh, that's amazing.
Yeah, it really is. I think, we've established such a lovely group of women who have come to the group. Obviously, we would love loads more to join us. But, what's lovely is we've had some really lovely, consistent numbers of joining us. We've got a growing Facebook group, which has been brilliant. And then everything that we do in our walks, we then put into the Facebook group afterwards. So if you can't join us for a walk, then you get sort of the information. So we do have, within our talks, we sort of choose a subject, usually a symptom or something that we can chat about, and then we put together a PDF to give tips and hints as to how to manage it, and it's gone down really well.
It is wonderful. Unfortunately, I think I've only managed to make it to 2, but it is honestly having been, it is such a wonderful thing because it is the walking, which is lovely, and God knows we need some vitamin D at this time of year. But it's also about, that's kind of, as you said, it's community and women getting together. We're all all going through similar things, and just having these lovely frank discussions afterwards, and a cup of tea, and it feels very, as I say, very community orientated, but very sort of non-threatening. And it's not like being in an AA meeting where you have to say, "Hi, my name is Nancy, and I'm menopausally mad." It's very, very relaxed, but it's. If you can get along on a Monday to Wabendon Community Hub,
yes.
It is so worth going. Honestly, if I didn't work such stupid hours, I would be there every Monday because it is a wonderful thing.
I think what's lovely is actually if anybody struggles with starting the week, especially starting the week positively, it's something that if you can drag yourself to the group, we always have a giggle and we always go off topic as well, which is great fun. Some very random stories come up and things, but it's brilliant. And we're all sharing, as you say, there's a really sort of like a broad range of us in terms of all our different experiences, and everybody shares and just feels comforted. And if you don't want to share, that's absolutely fine as well, so it's something for everyone. And it's been great, and it really feels like it's really established now, which is lovely.
And how many steps are you on now? Because it must be getting close.
Yes, so we've got a 40-week project that we've been funded from National Lottery Community Fund and from Places for People, and we are obviously, as I said, on week 24, and our aim originally was to hit 1 million steps, and we're at 902,000. I know.
Oh my God, I thought you were going to say like halfway. I was like, because
no.
You've still got loads of time, haven't
we have.
you?
We've got 17 weeks left, and 17 weeks left. And, I'm very, very thrilled to say that we're probably going to smash it in the next 2 or 3 weeks.
I think so. Sorry, well, I can't take any credit. I think I've probably contributed maybe like
did.
5,000 steps to that. But every little helps, doesn't
Absolutely. No, it really does. And so we're all, and what's really lovely, it's a really nice way for us all just to have another purpose to get together as well. So yes, I'm delighted, and all the women who are involved have been. So thank you very much for your step contribution. It's been brilliant.
Not much, but as I say, every little helps. But it is just so wonderful because these community projects aren't that well known. You don't hear about things that often. You've got to kind of be in that. Yeah, in that.
It's difficult to spread it.
Yes.
Yeah. Spread the word. But and you're absolutely right. Sometimes you try not to be too niche. You do want to be able to hit sort of like the age range and the breadth of the groups that you would love people to come and join in. So please, if you would like to find out a little bit more about menopause, but also just come and have a chat, because we have a couple of ladies who just join in for the walks, and then they don't have a chance to stay. They have to go and do other bits, for the time that we're doing our talk. But just getting together for that little bit of time is lovely.
It's so wonderful. So if you're interested, I'll put it on my socials, _Nancy MK_ and Ailsa is Fitness with Ailsa, but Olive Collective, which is
yes,
so well done you there. That's amazing. It's something to be super, super proud of. So you've been so busy. You are everywhere, but in a good way, promoting women's health.
Yes.
And International Women's Day was fairly recently. Tell me what happened there, because that looked like you were smashing it.
Oh, we had such a great day. So we went and there was a big event in Milton Keynes for International Women's Day, and I was very fortunate to do a workshop, just a little mini workshop, just to sort of like talk about how to thrive during menopause. And what was really a real eye-opener was the group of women that we had in our workshop. I actually asked them, are you thriving in menopause or are you just surviving in menopause? And sadly, everybody put their hand up when I said surviving, and I think I had 2 out of the whole group saying that they were feeling that they were okay, that they were thriving. I don't think the word thriving actually came up, but they said, we're okay.
Coping,
And I think what was really interesting from that was I just said, just hands up, how many of you know about the 3 stages of menopause, or when things start to happen, and so many women just didn't know. So I just think that's just giving the facts for when you can actually start thinking about it. Could be hormones, when you start not feeling like yourself, is something that would really help so many women. So we went back through those. Do you want me to just go through those again?
Please.
Do you think?
Fascinating. fascinating. No, seriously, it's fascinating.
Yeah, so obviously menopause is one day, and I think when I said menopause was one day, most women just, you could see their faces were just
It's like 10-year sentence.
Yes, exactly. They did think that. And I think obviously the word menopause is bandied around. So menopause is one day. On average, for white women, it's 51, the age of 51. For black women, it's 49. And for Southeast Asian women, it's 46. And a lot of women didn't know that. We had a really lovely mixed group of women in the group, and they were very surprised. And when I sort of like said that if the average age of menopause is 51 on average, for white women, for example, then you would be looking at 10 years ahead of that for perimenopausal symptoms to start. So that could be 41. So obviously with Southeast Asian women, it could be 36 if they are going through menopause at 46. So it can be in your 30s. And again, that was a real shock to a lot of women. And the other thing is, I think a lot of women expect it to be that their cycle changes. They've been looking for cycle changes and nothing's happened. So when the cycle starts to change, they might go, and this might be when they're like 48, 49, going, well, I can see it's happening now. But they've been feeling rubbish for like 6 or 7 years ahead of that, not realising that those are some of the signs and symptoms of hormone change. So there is no, straightforward way of starting going into hormone change or menopause, perimenopause, should I say. And so, that's where we've got 45 symptoms that we could go through. And I think the one that everybody recognises is a hot flush. 85% of women will experience that, not everybody. So if you have a hot flush, one of the only reasons why you'll have a hot flush is because of menopause. That's why doctors can pick up on that one. And sometimes actually during pregnancy. Did you ever have a hot flush during pregnancy?
God, to be honest with you, it was such a long time ago, but I only have one hot flush a day now, which is bizarre. It's usually in the evenings, about 9:30, 10 o'clock. I can almost sit my watch by it.
Really?
And I'll just like, oh my God, I'm on the couch and I'm like, I've got to get the blankets off, and I'm just like, oh my God, and I can just feel it. But it's just one a day, but it's severe.
It's powerful. Yeah. Well, we were talking, actually, we've just had one of our walk and talks was on hot flushes, and it's incredible. I think as well, a lot of postmenopausal women. So once you've had your menopause is one day, which follows 365 days without a period. So when you go into postmenopause for the rest of your life after that stage, a lot of women just think, well, I don't have periods anymore, and so it's not going to affect me. But you're living obviously without estrogen, and you can still have hot flushes going into your 60s, 70s, 80s.
Oh, joy.
Yeah, but it's not as powerful as they would be in perimenopause. I know, it's a killer. Because I same as you, I had 6.5 years of it, but then HRT helped to, that's a really good one to really balance the hot flushes. So when we were talking on International Women's Day, it was a really interesting conversation. And the funniest thing was, I had sort of like 5 tips to give out on, on how to manage it and try and, survive and thrive. And but the chat afterwards, we had literally 3/4 of an hour afterwards where about 10 ladies stayed back, and we were just chit-chatting about, each of them had something they just wanted to talk a little bit more on. And, we are going to be doing an event very soon, which I'm very excited about, which actually touches on some of the bigger subjects that came up during that time, which I'm very excited that we're doing something about.
I know, yes, we're very excited about it. We'll talk a little bit more about it. But I know that there's 5 kind of superfoods, aren't there? There's 5 tips that you've got there, haven't there? So, I think maybe we'll pop that out on socials, that's definitely what we're going to be touching on the event, is that those 5 tips to kind of help us just about manage.
Yes.
And we've got an event coming up, haven't we? That's so exciting.
Yes, we have. April the 3rd. We pulled that date together, didn't we?
It took a while.
It did. It's a Thursday. It's going to be at 6 o'clock till 7:30 over at Furtho Manor Farm in Milton Keynes. And yes, we're going to be talking about embracing the change. And we're going to be talking about 3 sort of subjects that seems to be very popular. So hair thinning is one, which I don't think with your lovely glossy locks, do you struggle
No,
with?
I do. I really did. It's weird. I think I talked about this last week, actually. I know my hair looks thick, and to be fair, I had it done last week, and this is still from last Tuesday or Wednesday. So, you look Hannah and Anne-Marie at HK Hair are amazing. So, and the colour is all down to there. Unfortunately, it's not my natural colour. But yes, so I keep it in good condition. I have it cut regularly. But it's not what it used to be. It really, really isn't. And the sort of thinning there, the flyaway hair is obviously fighting the losing battle against grey. But even though I've got a lot of hair, it's very fine. Yeah. And if I look at pictures of me, 10, 15 years ago, I had twice the amount of hair. Yeah. So for someone and for women, our hair is such an important part of our femininity. And if we lose it, or, and I speak to, and I know you do as well, I know Hannah does speak to so many women who the weight gain and the hair is the most saddening, sensitive thing of all, isn't it?
Yeah, it does. It just, yes, it can make your day or it can break your day, can't it? If you don't feel that you look or feel your best for whatever reason, whether that's, as you say, weight gain or hair, and also makeup can do, skin and makeup and those sorts of things, but hair especially, it's like they say it's your crowning glory, don't they? And unfortunately, because of that, I think we also look to hair to sort of boost us up. So Hannah from HK Hair and Wellness will be talking about, what we can do to help reduce the amount of hair loss that we have, what we can do to maybe help thicken or create sort of like the illusion or the feeling of thicker locks. So I'm really looking forward to that, because I have a lot of women who ask me about that, and it's going to be lovely to have a hairdresser who specialises in that as well. So that's wonderful. We are also going to be talking about weight management, and so many women, especially as I said at that International Women's Day, I said, is anybody struggling with weight gain, stubborn weight gain? Everybody's hands went up. Yes, it literally was. And it's really interesting, and that's all shapes and sizes, even some of the slimmer ladies. Again, we all put our hands up. It's like, that is something that has affected all of us. So that's what we're going to do, is we're going to touch on a little bit to do with how there are 5 great superfoods we can add into our diet. You've obviously spoken to nutritionists as well, so that there's lots of things that we can do to try and assist us and support our bodies. And there's more than just eating and movement, as you well know. So it's going to be things to do with your lifestyle and what we can do. And then you're going to be talking about body confidence and how to make the most of your body. And I'm really looking forward to that bit, because we do sometimes, we were talking about, you sometimes lose your style, you sometimes lose your glow, you don't know sometimes who you are anymore when you get into that sort of, I would say from literally when I hit my 50s, I could feel as a little bit like, who am I now? More so than I did in my 40s. So it's really a chance to really have a chat about, celebrate ourselves a little bit, and actually be happy with where we are now, but with the idea of how can we move forward if we do want to do a little bit of something special for us. So it's going to be great. We're going to be throwing loads of tips and advice out there, aren't we? So I'm looking forward to hearing yours.
Oh no, it's really exciting. And I think, the style thing is very, very important as well. I mean, all the things that all 3 of us are bringing are equally important, and I'm so glad that we've managed to get together, because logistically it was quite difficult because we're all very, very busy. But for me, even for me as a stylist and as someone who's a fashionista, I love fashion, but it doesn't necessarily love me. And and I always say there's no such thing as the wrong body, only the right clothes. But just before I came out today, I must have ordered 15 pairs of trousers. 15 pairs of trousers. Goodness, yeah. And none of them fitted. Not one. Oh, and I literally vary from a sort of I tried on a large. Yeah. Couldn't even get them over my thighs. An extra large was like properly tight on my thighs. It looked obscene. And then a size 16 fitted my thighs, different brands of course. Yes. Massive in the waist. I'm going to have them taken in. And then a size 18 jean, which fitted me. And again, I have no issue about being a size 16 or 18. I don't care about that. Yeah. But there is no standardization in clothing. And that's what I really want to talk about, is just to say, please don't be governed by labels, because it really doesn't matter. Manufacturers need to get their act together. Yeah. But I'm hoping, I'm going to put this video out to sort of say the number doesn't matter. Just get what fits you. Yeah. And also that term, mutton breast lamb, or age appropriate. And Naomi Watts talks about that in her book, age appropriate. What does that even mean? Who coined that phrase? I'm sorry, it makes me really, really angry. Yeah. A mutton breast lamb, I mean, that is the most ridiculous phrase ever coined. And it's actually really insulting. If you want to wear something and it brings you joy, wear it, obviously within reason. And, it's about using common sense. But I think as 50-something women, we are kind of told put in our little box, sensible. Let's not be too out there. And particularly because we're British as well, let's not be too out there. Actually, we'll be as out there as we jolly well like. If
absolutely.
That's the person that you are, you want to wear animal print head to toe, fill your boots. Absolutely. So I will be talking about fashion, but fashion that's right for you. I'll be asking people to bring one item of clothing.
Love that. Yes.
Because we've all got those random items of clothing in our wardrobe that we don't wear, and it's about how I can make an outfit for you. And if not, if that item, for instance, if it's a skirt, somebody else has got their eye on it, let's do a little swapsy. Bit of a swishing
Love
thing
it.
going.
Oh, fabulous. Very exciting.
So yes, event details we will put up at the end of the show, and also on both of our socials. And it's also, I think, I'm a great fan of journaling. I've got 3 journals, which I know is excessive, but they all prompt me with different things. But I think the good thing about journaling is you can troubleshoot then you can look back and go, because I said I don't even know my own name half the time, so I'm not going to remember what I did 3 weeks ago. But if it's written down, you can say, oh, okay, there's a pattern, and then you can troubleshoot and say, okay, I know, for instance, I cannot eat chocolate at night because I'll just be wired for sound all night.
Yes.
And it also makes my joints ache. So it is to say, having that, writing stuff down makes it real, makes it because you're more likely to remember it as well. I mean, I have a diary on my phone, and I have a Filofax old school, but I can more easily visualize the written than I can on my actual phone. So weird.
Well, actually writing things down, it's a great way. It's also a great way to brain dump. So, if you're doing it at the end of the day, for example, and you do struggle with sleep and you do struggle with stress and anxiety, it's a great way also to almost like pre-process your day rather than going to sleep and then your brain processing it when you should be asleep and, coming out with crazy scenarios of things that didn't happen but could have happened, and then you're worrying about it. If you can use it for so many different things. I think that's great you've got 3, because actually then at least you can, allocate which bits, you can go back to. But those sorts of things, it really does help. It really does help.
Yeah, because catastrophizing at 3 a.m. in the morning, 3 a.m. is a thing. So
as
I say, if you can brain dump, then it's done.
Yes.
Welcome back to the Nancy Stevens Lifestyle Show. It has whizzed by, and Ailsa and I have got lots to talk about quickly. So let's talk about our amazing event on the 3rd of April.
Yes.
Go.
So, yes, do come along. We have actually got half the tickets left they've already been going really quickly, but they're free. I wanted to make sure everybody realised they are free tickets. It's on the 3rd of April, 6 o'clock till 7:30, and it's called Embrace the Change. And our tickets you can find on Eventbrite. So if you go to Eventbrite and put in Embrace the Change, you'll start seeing all the information, and it'll be a Don't Sweat It workshop that you'll see from that. So really looking forward to that. And yes, book in as soon as you can.
And how can we find you as well?
So we would love you to join our Facebook group, which is Don't Sweat It Walking Group. And on there, with all the things that we're doing in terms of if you want some information on symptoms, if you want some support, if you want to ask any questions at all, that's where you can find us. So come to the Facebook group, Don't Sweat It Walking Group.
Oh, I'm so excited. I can't wait. Honestly, I just see the energy from all of us, because we've all got so much to bring. I'm so excited.
Yeah, me too.
Oh, and if you want to get hold of me, I'm _Nancy MK_. Gosh, I had to think of my own handle there. Just drop me a DM if there's anything you want to talk about, if you want to be a guest on the show, any comments. Please let me know, because this show is yours. This is about topics that matter to you. It's really, really important that we get feedback, because this is how we'll grow. So it's been lovely having you back, Ailsa. Thank you so much.
You.
Amazing guest, talking all things menopause. I've got a couple of amazing guests coming up in the next few weeks. I've got Hannah from Edge K Hair, so we're going to be talking about the event as well, and as I say, how to manage your hair in menopause. And also I'm talking to author Lizzie Damalola Blackburn, local author, about her amazing book, The Rewrite, and Yenka, Where's Your Husband, which I read a few weeks ago, which I absolutely loved. So lots of exciting things coming up in the next few weeks. Thank you so much for joining me. This is the Nancy Stevens Lifestyle Show.